What do we have here? What do we have here? How did I get here?
How did we get
Wow.
here?
Is that the deep question or just the, that's a deep question.
Yeah, we don't have time for that. I had to bring on one of the most amazing friends, the most amazing friend I've ever had.
Wow.
G-Triz, Grant Trout, best man at my wedding.
That feels good.
Coming to
That
you
feels
New
good.
Year's Eve. But we've only been friends for
Call it 2.5, maybe?
2.5
Which
years.
is a long time now.
a long time.
Wow.
But man, we have went from 0 to 100 really quick, and excited to tell you guys more about our friendship kind of experience and journey. And I think the reason why this is relevant is because I think people don't know what it means to be a good friend.
I think before I met you, I didn't know what it meant to be a good friend.
The hope here is that this is something that we're passionate about. Why? Because we see that friendships can change lives. Like, God talks all the time about deep friendships, about brotherly affection, about loving one another, about the call that there are friends that stick closer than a brother, and how Christians are meant to be unified and together. And I think that if the enemy is going to attack us in any way, it's through dividing, specifically between the Christian. And so I think it's important just to know how to be a good friend. But I truly have seen that if you learn how to be a good friend now, especially if you're single, if you're in your young adult years, it's going to set you up for being a better husband, wife, father, mother, employee, coworker, in community with people. Like, it just all around, when you learn how to interpersonally connect with people and love them the way that Jesus loves us and calls us to love, it changes everything about how you live, how you think, and your future people will even thank you for the work that you put in with your people now.
Sure.
And so let's just talk for a little bit.
Come on,
Let's
man.
bring up some
Please.
stories.
Please.
I found Grant. Well, Grant kind of found me in October.
Yeah, 19th to be exact.
October 19th
Yep.
of 2019. I was fresh moving to Dallas, was still making friends here. I had spoken at this college thing, and then Grant asked to go to lunch after. And we decided to keep hanging out. And one of our first, you tell it, one of our first things together.
So, text JD, start the day off. I said, hey, Jay, like, what's up today? You want to hang out? And he gets it, and we're fresh friends, so we're like, yeah, this is going to be a good time.
You said block your whole Sunday.
Yeah, I hyped it. And I was like, hey, this is going to be the best day ever. Like, let's hang out all day. And that, at the time, sadly, saying this, meant little to me. And so I found a better option that day, and I went to hang out with a girl, and I just totally didn't even text JD. I didn't call him. I just let it go.
Ghost.
Totally ghosted. And I'm sitting here, and I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not thinking much of it. I'm like, he'll find something to do. And I get this call, and I'm like, JD. And I put it down again, and all of a sudden I get a text, and it's like, hey, like, what's the plan? And I picked up my phone, and I was like, all right, JD, I threw my phone across the room and completely didn't even text him. I call him on the ride home. I'm feeling good, and I'm like, Jay, what's up, man? And just trying to like woo myself back into it. And in that moment, I was expecting like every other friend, oh, gee, you're good. And he goes, Grant, I don't need another friend. But when you told me that you wanted to be in the fight with me and that you wanted to do this Christian thing right, I thought you meant it. And for the next hour, he literally checked me so hard in my chest for the first time. But you were like, Grant, I just want you to be about what you say you're gonna be about. And if you're just here to like kind of string me along or whatever, I don't really need another friend. I'm looking to go to battle with somebody. And that changed my life. That moment changed my life because he looked at me and he cared enough, not about whatever, to keep some image up, but he was like, Grant, I care about you enough. This is not okay. And that was the moment, man, where I was like, I think I just found my brother for life. Not just another friend that we can laugh, but I want to go deep with you. And that is where we took it from just kind of like, hey, what's up, man, to like, no, let's really sit down and define what this is. And that sparked probably the greatest 2.5 years of my life. Like I definitely am not the same person because of the love he showed me starting on that night.
Yeah, which brings me to our first kind of character quality in a good friend is just love. Unconditional love that is committed to the other person's success and them meeting their potential. It's like about the other person. Selflessly lay down yourself and loving them enough to, one, speak hard truths. Like, you gotta be willing to speak hard truths to your friends. I think so many people today, they call themselves friends with people and they've never once checked them. They've never once called them out. They never once called them higher. They've never been like, hey, when you did that to me, that hurt. There might have been drama. There might have been like passive statements, but never once sitting down and being committed to being like, hey, Grant, you said you were gonna do this. Like, I expect you to follow through. Why? And going, why is that important? Like, why is commitment and being a man of your word important? Because this is the reputation you want to have. You want people to be able to count on you. You want to be dependable. That's what makes a good friend. And so I would say that the commitment to love a person, even if it creates, embrace uncomfortable conversations. If you're going to truly be committed to a friendship.
We have had the most heated arguments ever, to the point, and both sides. Both sides. It's not just him checking me. Like, we had one a couple months ago that I think was like a little trajectory shaping, where you were like, Grant, this means a lot to me. But there's been both sides of like, when you care about someone, it's not an easy friendship, but it's worth it to press in and care.
And I think not only just love them by telling them hard truths, but also loving them by accepting them, all of them. Grant and I just spent nights together, just getting all of our past, all of our mistakes, all of our stories, all of our different things that have made us who we are today, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our parenting issues, all the different things that have made us who we are today, that our past relationships, like so much. We were fully known by one another. And when you're able to be fully known by a friend and accepted and loved, it just further shows you God's love for you.
I remember you told me, you're like, I don't know if you can fully, truly understand the depth of the gospel if you're not fully known by somebody, because there's a piece of you that's like, man, I know 99% of me is forgiven, but there's that 1%. And I remember a specific night when I told him things I thought I would never tell him, and he told me things he thought he would never tell anybody. And it's that moment where you're like, hey, here's mine. Oh, here's mine. Everybody has their thing. And the enemy is convincing you that you're the only one. Hold it. It's better to maintain the image than to give it all out. And it's not worth it. When you let that out, Jesus begins to free you and bring a confidence and a clarity and a purpose that otherwise, with you holding that baggage, is not possible.
Yeah, that's good. So another thing that I would say is learning how to truly care for people. Learning how to truly listen and learn a person in a way that helps them see, like, become themselves. Like, when you take time to learn someone and you take time to listen to learn who they are, you get to continue to fan that flame and create them more into who God made them to be. And that's care. That's caring for a person. And I think that a lot of times friendship is spelt T-I-M-E, like time, giving a person time. And not learning just to listen because it's the nice thing to do.
Yeah, but like genuinely, like I genuinely care. And like we'll set aside specific lunches where either JD will ask all the questions or I will. And we don't really plan it out, but we'll sit down and he'll look at me and be like, today you're talking. And he'll still take the time to ask questions, and then I'll do the same. And it's like, man, as 2.5 years, you would have thought we'd known everything, but there's taking the time to listen that just shows the other person like, you're with me and for me.
Yep. The next one I would say is just celebrate. Celebrate a person's win. Celebrate their gifts.
Encourage them.
Call them out. Especially men, we're so bad at this. Look at your guy friends and be like, I see this in you, way to go. Or hey, that thing that no one saw, I saw, or God saw. Better, God saw, way to go. Keep going, keep running the race. And the reason why we do that is because I think comparison is the thing that robs us from celebrating people. 100%. And we're like, oh, I don't want to puff them up, or I don't want to, in the name of humility, not celebrate them. And that's bogus. Like, I would say you need to constantly be encouraging and calling out truth at what you see in your people, because the enemy is calling out things, but they're all lies. Or he's celebrating the wrong things about them, and he's making them feel good about the things that don't matter. And so celebrate your friends and do things that show you that you've taken time to learn them and to celebrate them in a way that's not just your average, like, hey, good job, man, but like really celebrating them.
This man feels so loved if you can telegraph something that he's gonna like. And so this man loves donuts in the morning on his birthday. He loves when you know something about him, like you know his coffee order, you know certain things that he's like, wow, you know me. But also another thing you do really well is you put yourself in the other person's shoes. And so sometimes we can feel misunderstood because we're like, well, I don't know if anyone actually gets that. And JD and I will also come to each other and be like, hey, you're probably going through this and no one really knows it, because here's what you have to deal with. And it's awkward just to say it sometimes because it sounds like you're boasting, or it sounds like, those things you don't want to say. But when you can put yourself in your friend's shoes and speak it out for them, it helps so much. Because there's been so many moments where we hold something in and JD's like, hey, I know that you are probably thinking this, this, and this, and I know that's hard. And I know that nobody else has to go through that, or blah, 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 blah. But putting yourself in their shoes is super helpful.
Yeah, like that ability to call out specifics in people's lives, the good, the bad, the ugly, just to show them, again, I know you. Like, I have taken time to know you and I care about you, goes such a long way.
Yep.
That takes time. It takes time, and it takes putting aside yourself. That's another problem I see today in friendships, is we approach relationships and people and we ask the first question subconsciously, what will this person do to me? How will this person benefit my life? That's not a friendship. That's all about you. And that's not what friendship is. It's about the friend. It's about the person. It's about being a friend. And so, again, all of that kind of fits in the umbrella of caring enough to call out things, celebrate things, and do things that is the other's focus. We always say, be a there you are person, not a here I am person. And then lastly, the last one I had down here is loyalty. We have love, we have care, we have celebrate, and we have express loyalty. Yeah. I think that gossip is one of the biggest problems in friendships today, that you are always wondering, man, is this person one way with me? And then has deep down feels some type of way about me. And when someone else gives them the freedom to talk about me, do they take the invitation? Like, do they do it? Or, man, when I'm not in the group hangout and my name comes up, what happens? Or there are so many different situations because of social media and FOMO and all those things that we're constantly wondering, where am I at with these people relationally? In true friendship, you never have to wonder. You can confidently know if there's something going on, it's coming directly to me. And you can establish, hey, we can do a lot of things in this friendship, but to be disloyal and to talk about each other behind each other's back without the other person knowing, or to put each other down or to shame each other, that's not going to happen.
There's a cool thing knowing that, like, no matter how bad our fights get, and this is rare, but like, I do not have to worry about this man going to somebody and start talking. And it is rare, but you fight for that, and I think it's a choice. Just like love is that choice of like, I love you, bro, and I know we're in the biggest fight ever, but if someone brings your name up, I'm the first one to be like, that's my dog.
That's true. And so just to recap, real friends, what makes an amazing friend is someone willing to love people enough to speak the hard truths, have hard conversations, but also love them enough to show them, hey, you can be fully known and accepted by me. You don't have to perform or change who you are for me to love you. Real friends care. They care enough to take time, set aside time to listen and learn the person, learn them to be able to call out the specifics and celebrate them. The next thing, celebrating them, not comparing, but celebrating them, fanning the flame of their dreams and their passions, and doing everything you can as a friend to help them reach their fullest potential in Christ. And then lastly, just an undying loyalty to being true to that friend, to not letting the enemy or people divide you in that friend, and making sure that you don't let gossip and slander and jealousy do anything to take you apart. Because again, the enemy knows that when God's people are most unified, he is most glorified. And so don't let him win.
We remind each other constantly, hey, Satan hates our friendship. And so Satan hates your godly friendship, and he will do whatever it is he can to wedge that apart. 2 Corinthians says we are not unaware of Satan's schemes, and it's talking about not forgiving each other. And so when we fight, we always come back together and we're like, we got to remember we're not fighting against each other. There is an enemy that hates us and wants to divide us, and we have to fight against that. And so remember that in your friendships also. Satan hates godly friendships. You got to fight for him.
That's right. And so I hope that this helps you. Like, go grab your friends, go grab your people, and ask yourself just a few questions. Like, man, are we being good friends? Are we holding each other to high standards, high commitment? Are we making each other better? Are we talking about each other more than talking to each other? Are we celebrating often? Are we quick to go and resolve conflict? Like just like do a friendship check right now, because We need each other.
Yep.
Now, in
Yep.
such dividing times, we need each other more than ever. And your friendships and your relationships matter. And so I'm so thankful for this friend, for my many friends that God's blessed me with, and go out there and be an amazing friend.
Be a light.
See ya.